The famous psychotherapist Carl Rogers once said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself as I am, then I can change." Hi, my name's Paul. Thanks for tuning into the video today. I own and operate Supporting Act Counseling, and today we're going to be talking about acceptance. We're going to talk a little bit about what are the principles of acceptance, why it's so beneficial for us, and how we can practice it more. So, to begin with, I find a lot of times in my work that people struggle, and I struggle a lot with accepting things in life that we cannot change. And that's really the key to this, is that we want to learn how to accept the things in life that we can't change, but then change the things we can. So a good example would be, let's say I want to get healthier. That is something I have control over and I can change. I can maybe eat healthier, get exercise, sleep more, and that's going to help me be a healthier person. I don't have to say, well, I'm not healthy and I'm just going to accept that because there's nothing I can do about it. Because there are things I can do about it. Now, I can say I don't want to do all those things to be healthier. Then I have to accept the fact that I won't be healthy and there are consequences that come with that. A little bit of a different example, and this is one I see a lot of times in my work, is maybe you made a mistake in your past that you're having a hard time getting through or forgiving yourself for. This would be a great example of a time to practice acceptance because you can't change it. You can't change the mistake you made. It happened, but you can accept it and move through it. And so the way acceptance works is we have pain and we have suffering. Now, if we radically accept things in our lives that we cannot change, we may still have pain from whatever that is, but we're going to have less suffering. If we don't accept it, we're going to have pain and suffering. So I'm going to illustrate this with an example that I've seen in my work with people who have degenerative diseases like Parkinsons. So Parkinson's is a disease that it gets worse over time. There's no cure for it. And so it can be a really difficult on someone's physical body, but also their mental health, because it's not going to get better. Now, if you were diagnosed with Parkinson's, you've got the pain of Parkinson's, which may include tremors, having to take medication, forgetfulness, all of those health issues. But then if you can't accept it, you're also going to have higher emotional suffering. Now, same example, you're diagnosed with Parkinson's disorder. There are things you can maybe control a little bit. You could take medication, you can maybe exercise your brain and try to stay kind of as sharp as you can. But you're going to have all of the pain of having Parkinson's. But if you can radically accept the fact that you have it and there's nothing you can do about it, your emotional suffering will go down. And so I've had clients, with a disease like Parkinson's say, well, I might only have 5 years to live, and it's going to be so horrible. And maybe it will, and it is. I don't want to minimize the fact that it is sad to have a disease like that and know that you may only have a few years to live. But the reality is do you want those years to be really sad and depressing, or do you want them to be as good as they can? If you don't accept it, you're going to have the pain of the Parkinson's and then the emotional suffering for the next 5 years. Figured, well, if you're going to only have 5 years left, you might have pain, but why not have less suffering? You could have a better 5 years that might be at minimum more peaceful. Now, if being negative about it and the suffering decreased the pain, or Parkinson's, if it reversed it, then yeah, be miserable because it's going to lower it. But it's not. So would you rather have 5 years of pain and suffering, or 5 years of pain and less suffering? Another example, a concrete example that may help explain this, is I work with a lot of people who have spent a significant amount of time in prison. And what I've found is the people that do the best while in prison, as well as when they get out, are the people that are able to accept the fact that they are there, and they're there for the time that they got to be there. So the person that cannot accept that they're in prison and they're going to be there for, let's say, 6 years, they've got the pain of being in prison. They've got, bad food, it's dangerous, they don't have a lot of autonomy, you've got to deal with guards and other inmates, and they also have emotional suffering. But the people who can accept it, they still have all of the pain, but now their suffering goes down, which also increases freedom. In our mind, we have, in our Western mind, we have this idea of freedom being, I can do whatever I want when I want. But you could be locked up and be free in your mind. The other thing is the people that radically accept that they're in prison because they can't change it in that moment, end up often doing better there and take advantage of some of the programs that are offered, or they learn a skill or a trade while they're there because that emotional suffering is lower. They have a little bit more bandwidth for other things. So some kind of metaphors that explain this well. If you think about a riptide, right? So if you're out swimming in the ocean, a riptide or in Lake Michigan, riptide will pull you out, will kind of suck you out. And the more you fight against it, the more tired you get and the more likely you're going to drown. So what do they say when you get stuck in a riptide? Just float. Don't fight it. Just swim, keep your head above water, don't swim against it, let it take you out. And then once you're out, swim parallel to the shore and swim in. You're not supposed to fight it. It's only going to make you more tired. It's going to wear you down. Or I think of those Chinese finger traps that you put in your fingers. The harder you pull against it, the more stuck you get. So that comes back to the quote in the beginning, whereas the curious paradox is that when I accept myself as I am, then I can change. And what I see a lot in my work is that we are so critical of ourselves and the changes we have not made that actually makes it more difficult for us to make positive change in our lives. So I'm not saying it's not good to have goals for yourself or that you shouldn't work towards those, but often this level of non-acceptance is actually making it harder for us to change and to grow. So remember, we accept the things that we cannot change. If there are things in your life you want to change, go for it and try to make those changes. But if there are things that are out of your control and you can't change, radically accepting them will only decrease your suffering. So thanks for tuning into the video. I hope you found it helpful. You can find more videos like this on my website at supportingactcounseling.com, as well as on my Facebook page, as well as our YouTube page. So thanks. Have a great day.